Mikhael Massa films. Noah is the father of all the three sons Japheth, Ham and Shem. But after the dispersion of the people by God at the Tower of Babel, each went in their own region of the world. Japheth and his family went into Europe. However, Shem and Ham stayed in the area, and this is the reason why intermarriages occurred between the two people. They occupied the same land mass. Mizraim, Egypt, and some of his family went into a lands called Africa, but it wasn't called Africa then. The name Africa came from a Greek word phryke, means cold, and horo, and Afrik means not the land of cold and horo. The land of Ham is hot, Latin Africa means sunny. Cush, Ethiopia, the brother to Mizraim, had a very large area which even went into what is now called the Middle East. Remember, Nimrod was a Cushitic, and the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad and Calneh in the land of Shinar. This land area is almost the same as Persian kingdom. The only difference is that the Persian kingdom included India, Esther chapter 1v1. But Cush and his kingdom started from Babel, present-day Iraq. We must have this picture in mind to understand the connection of Africa and Middle East, that it was one land mass. Around 1913 BCE, Abraham and his wife Sarah went to Egypt because of the famine which was in the land. Please follow carefully with the next quotation. But before he entered the land of Egypt, he said, "Behold, now, I know that you art a fair woman to look upon. And it will come to pass, when Egyptians shall see thee, that they will say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but thee they will keep alive." Now let us look at one commentary's references by Rabbi Shelomohyitschaki. Solomon ben Isaac, also known as Rashi, said the following in his commentary in relation to the above quotation. "Behold, now, I know that thou art a fair woman, knowing that you are beautiful, I realize that your beauty is now a source of danger, particularly since the Egyptian are dark-skinned and ugly." Despite this comment having some racial discrimination and ridiculous comment, but the point here is the fact that the rabbi has stated that the Egyptians were black people, having a black skin race, and a person belonging to a dark-skinned race. The all issue may look irrelevant now, but this quote by Rashi is going to backfire on him. Let us now follow the explanation, because Rashi has admitted that the Egyptians were black people. Next story is about Joseph, one of the 12 sons of Jacob, was sold to Egypt by his own brothers out of anger. The Ishmaelites took Joseph and sold to the Egyptians. Later a famine had struck the land of Egypt and Canaan according to the Bible. In case there are those who don't know the verses in the Bible that talks of black people, here we are, and we have already started bringing out those verses to you. Because of hunger in the land, Jacob instructed several of his sons to go into Egypt and buy food because Egypt had enough to sell. When the brothers of Joseph, the sons of Jacob, had entered the land of Egypt, they were told to see a particular person. They didn't know the person they were going to see, and when they faced him, they did not recognize him, but Joseph recognized them. Now if Joseph is supposed to be a white person and he was in the midst of black people, don't you think his brothers would have recognized him immediately? Could it have been due to him being black amongst black people and blended in? A white person definitely would have been able to be pointed at if he was amongst black slaves during slavery time. What do you think? Next, it is a story when Israelites were leaving in the land of Egypt, and Pharaoh had instructed that all males among the children of Israel to be killed. One Israeli couple had a newborn baby, a son, and was hidden for 3 months. But when they could not hide him anymore, the child was put in a basket and placed among the reeds by the bank of the Nile River. The daughter to Pharaoh, wanting to bath in the Nile, went to the banks and saw the basket among the reeds, and she opened the basket. She saw a baby in it. Because the baby was very young, she instructed a Hebrew family, coincidentally the mother to the child, to look after and nurse the child until he was weaned. The agreement was made, and the baby was given the name Moses. Remember that the Egyptians were black, and if Moses was white, and knowing Pharaoh had issued a decree to kill all the Hebrew males, wouldn't he have killed Moses just there and then when she brought the child into the house of her father Pharaoh, since supposedly the child was white in the midst of black Egyptians? Again, if the child was white, do you think Pharaoh's daughter would have even allowed the child to live when she found him by the Nile River? Obviously the answer is no. The last point is this. We all know that Moses lived among the Egyptians for years, and one day he saw an Egyptian abusing a Hebrew. He came to the aid of the Hebrew and killed the Egyptians. He ran away in case the news reached Pharaoh. He left Egypt and went to the land of Midian. When he just entered the land of Midian, he helped some women. They were very grateful and ran back to tell their father that an Egyptian helped them. Here again, if they made a mistake by saying Moses was an Egyptian and knowing that Egyptians are supposedly dark-skinned and ugly, does this also make Moses dark-skinned and ugly too? Surely people need to be careful on what they say. It may come back to haunt you. Herodotus 484-425 B.C. was born in Halicarnassus, a Greek colony in Asia Minor. He traveled a lot in different regions and he was a friend to Sophocles of Greece. His journey included reaching the western shores of Black Sea, South Italy and Egypt, and to the Asian cities of Tyre, Babylon, Ecbatana, Nineveh and Susa. During his journey he wrote the following quotation about the Egyptians or natives. It is certain that the natives of the country are black. There can be no doubt that the Colchians are an Egyptian race. I made this inquiry on the subject both in Colchis and in Egypt, and I found that the Colchians had a more distinct recollection of the Egyptians than the Egyptians had of them. My own conjectures were found first, on the fact that they are black-skinned and have woolly hair. By this quotation it also gives us a positive identification on Egyptians. This is to show that Egyptians were black and that Israelite always got mistaken for them, to also prove that they both, the Egyptians and the Israelites, were black people. Solomon Grazel, a white Jewish historian of the 9th century CE AD. He stated that a man appeared in North Africa among the Hebrews there. His name was Eldad from the tribe of Danite. They said he spoke a very strange and unknown language and he told them weird stories. He said the members of his tribe had escaped Israel after Sennacherib had conquered Israel, and he mentioned of Hebrews from other tribes who lived where he came from. He taught the other Hebrews in North Africa all the laws that people follow, which was given to his tribe by tradition from Moses' successor Joshua ben Nun. The story was examined to be true and legitimate by the Gaon. The story has been included here because Mr. Grazel went on to say, some modern scholars argue that Eldad was an Ethiopian Jew, a descendant of ancient colony, which in the days of Ezra, lived on the south border of Egypt. We all know the color of the Ethiopian Jews, and we can conclude that Eldad the Danite, from the tribe of Dan, one of the 12 tribes of Israel, was a black man. Dear friends, fathers, mothers, uncles and all brothers and sisters, if we can't believe and accept this proof as to say what color the Hebrews wear, then you are truly in the state of denial. Finally, on this topic, we are going to list other verses in the Bible identifying the color of the Israelites. The verses are as follows. Lamentation 4:8, it says their visage, face, is blacker than coal. Lamentation 5:10, our skin was black like an oven. Job 30:30, my skin is black upon me. Song of Solomon chapter 1 verse 5-6, I am dark but lovely. Do not look upon me because I am black. Daniel 7 verse 9. And the hair of his head was like pure wool. Daniel 10 verse 6, his arms and feet like burnished bronze in color. Revelation chapter 1 verse 14, his head and hair were white like wool. His feet like brass as if refined in a furnace. Acts chapter 21 verses 37-39. Are you not the Egyptian who some time ago stirred up a rebellion? Joseph, Moses and Paul were mistaken to be Egyptians because they were black. They blended together with black Egyptians in color and appearance. We can also know the color of Hebrews on differentiating between white people and lepers by reading Leviticus chapter 13. The color of real Hebrews is found in this passage. Please go on and read King James Version, KJV.